My guest who has come before, who's been on before, and we love having her on the program, is Mary O'Sullivan. And this program is brought to you by Encore Executive and Professional Coaching. Mary O'Sullivan is the owner of Encore and Executive Professional Coaching. And she's going to talk today about emotional intelligence in the workplace and also what holds women back from finding their passion, sometimes men as well. Hello, Mary.
Tricia, this is great to be with you today.
Yeah, it's great to be with you. I'm so glad that you could be on again.
Thank you.
You know, it's interesting when you talk about what holds women back from finding their passion because I'm writing a book. I'm in the process of writing a book called, which is for women 50 plus, men too. But how do you find your passion at any age?
Right.
And there are roadblocks out there. There are. And there are people who may not look at us if we're over 50. But that's not everybody. And beside which, what people have to understand is that this is the biggest population, right? I mean, 50 plus, we're just there. And there's disposable income. There are a lot of folks that are retiring and looking for another step in their life.
Right, exactly. And it's very interesting you bring up the whole topic of passion because a lot of women are told they have to find their passion, and you're writing an amazing book about it. However, in my dealings with my clients and what I see every day is that there's always something that gets in a woman's way, more so than men. And it seems, and I don't know if you found this in your research, but I found it in just talking to people and some of the research that I've been doing into this topic, is that women tend to not put themselves first. So they might not even know what their passion is because they're always thinking of other people. A lot of times I get clients into my practice who would love to coach with me, but they'd rather spend the money on their kids' $1,500 SAT prep course than do something for themselves.
Okay, but that I do, but is that prep course is important to also.
But it might be more important for the mother, the woman, to get herself mentally in shape so she can proceed and support that child. And the other point is, I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, my parents were not going to put out $1,500 for an SAT prep course. And I hate to say it, but my husband and I often use our own growing up as guidelines for the common sense kind of thing that we do with our own kids, and now, of course, they're all grown up. And I always ask that question of the client, did your parents pay for your SAT prep? Well, no, they didn't. You see what I'm saying? We've gotten into this syndrome of perfection, that our kid has to be perfect, our brownies have to be perfect, our hair has to be perfect, and therefore, where's the passion in all of that?
So what you're saying, Mary, is, you know, it's important to take care of our family, but you feel too many times women deny themselves something that would really help them in their own right to grow.
You're exactly right. Yeah. Bingo. You hit the nail right on the head.
So how do you do that in coaching with women?
Interesting. So it's a long and winding road, and as I've mentioned a few times before, the majority of my clients are men, because men seem to kind of like jump right in there and embrace an issue and start working on it, even though it's not that easy. With women, it's a whole different approach. We have to get to the bottom of what it is they really want. And it takes a long time for women to discern that, because they might have an idea that's floating around in their head like, oh, you know, I always kind of wanted to get into hairstyling, but instead I went to college and now I'm working in an office in an accounting firm. They don't really like it, but they're making good money. They don't really have an excuse to leave, but it's not what they really want to do.
All right,
you
so
see what I'm saying?
I do, but here's my question, because I'm thinking about one of my listeners, right? And here's what they might say. Yeah, but you know what? I don't love my job. Now, this is the listener. This is one of my listeners thinking, yeah, I don't love my job, Mary, But it's paying my bills.
It's paying the bills.
It's paying my bills. I know what is expected of me. I don't really have to try that hard. I just go in kind of like a robot, do my thing. Yeah. I come home, and I'm able to do the things with my kids on the weekend. Is there anything wrong with that? That's my question.
The thing that is wrong with that is whatever the client thinks is wrong with it.
Got it.
So they're not going to come and see me
if they're happy.
Everything's happy-go-lucky. Right? It's because they have something they feel is missing. They have a discontent. So it's a lot more difficult for women to peel back those layers and start to expose that vulnerability and
this really reminds me, it's like a marriage.
Yeah.
It's like a marriage where, look, I'm taken care of, everything's status quo, I'm really not happy, I'm not getting my needs met, but I'm getting my needs met in other ways. I'm doing other things, keeping myself busy, and I'm going to stay.
Yeah, and if they're content with that life, they're not going to seek out a coach or a therapist, okay? But, Patricia, what I've found actually in my own life and in talking to a lot of other women is that women don't start to examine what they really want until there's some kind of real big crisis or tragedy. In my case, it was when my father passed away. Suddenly, the whole world changed as I never expected that it would. So, too, death, divorce, loss of a job, a disability, any kind of a crisis like that is what throws off that equilibrium that we were just talking about. Hey, I'm content with the job. It's not what I want. Blah, 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 blah.
Right, and any of those things can happen to anyone.
Absolutely.
So when you work with someone, let's distinguish this, because someone might say, well, if I go see Mary, she's not a therapist and I'm really in pain or I'm confused. So talk about the difference there and how you would help somebody who went through one of those, experiences that they didn't expect.
Yeah, it's interesting that you bring that up, because that's often, as I said, that's often the point where they launch into looking for what they really want to do. Right. And what I tell clients is that when you're in therapy, you're in a state of recovery. When you come to coaching, we are exploring discovery. We're looking for what it is that you want.
We're moving forward. We're not examining the past.
We're not going into the past. The only way we do any kind of looking backward is for a success. So have you been in this situation before, and was it successful? And then we try to take those lessons learned. But, if you've had a rough childhood or your father abandoned you or something, that is not a topic for coaching. That is a topic for therapy. So I want to be clear about that. So that's the big difference right
Mary,
there.
what are some, and we're going to take a break in a minute, but what are some of the results you've seen from working with people, doing some coaching? A person might have come in, a woman or a man might have come in X situation, and then after a process of coaching, they were able to do Y. Give us an example.
Well, a good example is most people that come to see me are looking to change their jobs for some reason or another. And it always boils down to what is their personal value system. So once we can define the personal value system, then they can seek a job that aligns with that personal value system. For instance, I had a client who was working in the defense industry. The defense industry has a mission, that is to defend the United States. Some of the things that are done in the defense industry are like kill people, bomb people. That bothers a lot of employees in the defense industry, right? So she wanted to get into something that more aligned with her personal values. So she began to look at health care. She ended up getting a job after about 4 or 5 months at CVS Health. So that was a very good move, but it was all based on her own personal values.
Mm-hmm. All right.
And that's the most important thing.
All right, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're taking your calls, folks. We're going to talk about emotional intelligence next. But if you're in that place where, you're just not satisfied, give us a call. Mary can answer your question, 438-WPRO, 438-9776. This program is brought to you by Encore Executive and Professional Coaching, and Mary offers complimentary consultations. And so we're going to talk about that as soon as we come back from the break. Right here on News Talk 630 and 99.7 FM, WPRO. We're the voice of Southern New England. I'm Patricia Raskin. We'll be right back. Hi, everyone. We are back. You are listening to the Patricia Raskin Show, and I'm Patricia Raskin. Right here on News Talk 630 and 99.7 FM, WPRO. We're the voice of Southern New England. This half hour is brought to you by Encore Executive and Professional Coaching. My guest, who comes on often, is Mary O'Sullivan, and she's just a wonderful coach for folks, men and women, who are going through, some kind of transition and change, and particularly professional coaching. Welcome back, Mary.
Hi, Patricia. Thank
so
you.
A lot of your clients are people, as you said, who are going through job transition or thinking about leaving a job.
Right.
Or have left a job and are looking for their next step.
Yep.
All right. Tell us about your complimentary offer to our listeners.
Well, for all of Patricia's listeners, I'm offering a 20-minute complimentary exploratory session, and you can just call my number, which is 401-742-1965, and you can make an appointment with me for that session. You can also go to my website, which is www.encoreexecutivecoaching.com, and you can actually schedule a complimentary session through my website as well.
Okay, and it's a great website. Lots of information. Mary has a terrific blog. Actually,
Yes.
I printed out some of your blogs, and it really explains a lot of. There's also frequently asked questions.
Yes.
Like, do I have to come to your office?
Right.
What's the difference between an executive coach and a life coach?
Exactly.
And so, all of that is right here on the website, which
Exactly.
is encoreexecutivecoaching.com.
Yep.
Okay.
Super.
All right. And you also talk about this Wheel of Life assessment. That's really interesting.
Yes. On my site, on the home page, there is a free Wheel of Life assessment. You just click on the Get It Now button, and it brings you right into this Wheel of Life assessment. You will mark up the wheel as to, I think from 1 to 9 in these different areas of your life. It includes social and your love life and your work life and a number of different areas. And then you mark on the wheel from 1 to 5, or 1 to 10, actually, where you stand with those items in your life. Like, how satisfied are you with your career, your work, your health, your relationships, your family, your ability to have recreation and things like that. And then there are some questions that go along with it. And that's a free assessment, and you can take that free assessment and then email me or call me, and we can go over that assessment together.
And that is complimentary?
That's complimentary. That's free of charge.
Gee, that's really, folks, take advantage of that, really. So go on to encoreexecutivecoaching.com, and then it will say, get your free Wheel of Life assessment.
Right.
Take the assessment and call Mary, and she'll interpret it for you.
Exactly.
And say you heard it right here on the program.
Heard it on the Patricia Raskin
Yeah,
show.
Well, that's terrific. So, folks, we're taking your questions, 438-WPRO, 438-9776. If you have a question about, that space that you're in, which just isn't comfortable, or you may just be thinking about what could I do differently?
Right.
What might, right? And you're in a secure position, which is the best time to think about this, right, Mary?
Exactly. The best time to start to reevaluate where you are is when you don't have anything hanging over your head and there's no rush for you to make a decision. So if you're in your late 40s or early 50s and you're thinking, hey, I've been at this job for 20 years and I think I might like to do something else, but I'm not ready to jump off the merry-go-round yet because, like we were talking earlier, it's paying the bills, it's paying for my kids' college, et cetera, but I'm not really thrilled. We can always talk about alternatives that can supplement your income and also give you an opportunity to do something else that you really like. Yeah. So I think I talked about a little bit a long time ago about a guy I had who was not happy with his job. He worked for a big, big company in Rhode Island. It's a big international company, and he just was not happy. And at his job in particular, where he was, everybody left at 5 o'clock. So we figured out that he could go back to school and take training to become a massage therapist.
Wow, that's quite different.
And exactly. He said he wanted to do something more relaxing. And so he took his training, and he's starting a part-time business on the side doing massage therapy, and he's got a little extra income, and he's got something to look forward to in retirement.
Yeah, that's the ideal situation, right, Mary?
It's the ideal situation, but, I hate to say it, but a lot of people wait until there's some kind of a layoff or termination, or, God forbid, they just quit and walk out. That's
I think there's another thing at play here, too, and I think it happens more for women than men, is that a woman might not do that because she thinks, look, everything's fine. I'm not going to spend the extra money on myself, which goes back to what you said before.
Yes.
I'm not going to venture out. I'll figure something else out when the time comes.
Right.
And what you're saying is it doesn't have to be that way, and particularly today, and here in Rhode Island, there's a lot of opportunity for entrepreneurs.
Yes.
And there's support for small business.
Yes, there is. And
people can go to SBA, Small Business Administration, to SCORE.
Right.
There's support.
It's interesting that you bring that up, because yesterday I spent the whole day at the Bryant University Women's Summit.
Oh,
and
yes.
That was amazing, an amazing day. It really was one of the best conferences I've been to, and one of the conferences was about entrepreneurship. And every single woman, there were 5 women on the panel, and some of them were extremely successful. They were almost forced into doing something different because of a divorce, a job loss, a death, or something to that effect. And again, I brought up the point in the session that, why is it that we wait? Like I said earlier, why do we wait for a tragedy? And like you said, women in particular, are happy with the status quo, or they try to submerge or subvert that passion, that light. On the way over here, I was thinking there's a biblical quote about don't put a basket over the lantern. In other words, don't hide the light that you shine. And as women, we often don't do that.
And there is so much opportunity here in Rhode Island. I went to a recent event also for women that every age, 30 up to 60, 70. And these were successful women. They were entrepreneurs, had their own businesses, passionate women, from owning gift shops to skincare companies to being attorneys, whatever it was, they loved what they did. And to get these kinds of women in a room together, it was very exciting.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. No doubt about it. But again, I think that, it's going to take a lot of encouragement for women who are feeling a little bit of discontent to start to develop that feeling into what it is they really want, what's the real passion, whatever it is. It may be becoming a yoga instructor. It may be, like I went into coaching. I left my big corporate job and decided that I wanted to do something different, and it was more tied to my early career, which was I was a school teacher for 10 years. Yeah. Hard to believe, but I was a high school English teacher.
Well, that's how I started many years ago. I started out as a teacher. It's a great way to start. It really is.
Excuse me.
We've got a couple of minutes left, so let's talk about this whole concept of emotional intelligence.
Yes.
Which is not given, I think, as much credit as it should be. We always talk about IQ. We don't talk about EQ.
The EQ, yes, the emotional quotient. And that's actually being measured now as we have the wheel of life. There's also a leadership wheel, actually, Patricia. And if anybody's interested in looking at that, I can supply that with them as well. And that measures what your leadership ability is in terms of emotional IQ. So what they're saying now is that you have to get your act together emotionally. You have to be able to analyze your own emotions before you act or speak, and you have to analyze the emotions of others. So it's really more what we used to call back in the day self-control or self-management. And it's sort of lost its way somewhere in the 70s and 80s. We forgot about it. And, this is where you get into a lot of the discontent and the disharmony in the workplace as well, because it's becoming more of a workplace hallmark to develop emotional intelligence. And actually, Google has done a tremendous amount of research into this because they have the people, and the military has done as well. The military has interviewed and quizzed all the new recruits that come in for a positive outlook, and they've proven that the recruits that survive combat the best or any kind of other stressful situation, they're the ones that they're the ones that have the positive attitude, the optimism, the emotional intelligence. So that was an amazing study that was done, and the Army has that ongoing. So it's a wealth of opportunity for researchers. But the other thing is that Google did research into it, and they found that when managers were more open with their people, when a manager, let's say, was diagnosed with cancer, instead of hiding it or letting it out slowly, he gathered the entire team together, and they spent a day talking about the impact of the cancer on him, on his family, and on the team. And what they found was that it actually increased team cooperation, team engenderment, and helpfulness, and it brought the team together much more quickly, and therefore made them more productive and more willing to help each other.
That's what we have to keep doing. All right, tell people again, so we have a couple minutes. Go on to, folks, EncoreExecutiveCoaching.com. Get your free Wheel of Life assessment. It's right there, and once you take that assessment, you can call Mary for your complimentary consultation. And the number is right on the website as well, correct?
Number's on the website, and actually, I believe on the mobile website, if you click the little phrase that says "call us now," it automatically dials the number.
Oh, is that fabulous?
So you don't even have to input the numbers. You can just click that "call us now." But the number for your information for everybody is 401-742-1965, and it's Mary O'Sullivan.
Right.
And I'm at EncoreExecutiveCoaching.com, and all of Patricia's listeners are entitled to a 20-minute complimentary exploratory session with me. Just let me know that you heard me on Patricia's show.
Mary, thanks so much. I know you'll be back with us soon.
Welcome.
It's always wonderful to have you on.
I'm so looking forward to it.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
All right, folks.